Today's edition of Pittsburgh Steelers Talk is made possible by Aura. They offer all-in-one digital safety with their digital safety tool, helping keep your personal and financial information safe. Head over to aura.com/chatsports for a free 14-day trial. Cancel at any time, by the way, of their all-in-one safety tool. It is a mailbag on today's show, so we're taking a look at your questions, ideas, rumors, theories around the Steelers, beginning well, boy, Tim, he says, would Joe Haden, sign for a reasonable one-year contract if nobody signs him by camp and take a part-time role? I hope he'd at least think about it. And he went on and on, go to another team. He still got it. I had maybe that team, the Steelers. I get it. Haden, I am a little bit surprised, is still unsigned. I do believe he can be a good rotational piece as a starter or as a part-time starter. Frankly, I think if you add Haden to your cornerback core with Ahkello Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, and Cam Sutton, I think I speak for most of those fans when I say you feel a lot more comfortable about that cornerback room. So, allegedly, Haden has offers. Maybe he signs in the near future. Maybe he waits for an injury. But if Pittsburgh is willing to offer him, I'd say more so playing time, maybe even than guaranteed money. I do think a reunion is at least still somewhat possible, even if it is probably a long shot. So would you re-sign Joe Haden? Y for yes, N for no. I want you guys to sound off. Safe space to voice your opinion for me right now in the comments section. Next up from the Ghost Face. Who do you think will start this season? Now, I assume you met at just quarterback as opposed to all the different positions where for the most part there aren't that many starting position battles open. Quarterback is, of course, a sexy one and the big one. Three-man race. Sorry, Chris Oladokun, you're not starting unless this is a, Ben DiNucci-esque disaster in Pittsburgh, which nobody wants, trust me. There's Mitchell Trubisky, who is the clear favorites for that starting position job, given the way he has been running with the ones. Kenny Pickett, at some point, God forbid, I think it's a bad thing if he doesn't take over as a starter, by the way, at some point, whether it's this year or next year. He will become a starter for Pittsburgh. Mason Rudolph, meanwhile, is kind of the odd man out. Not quite locked into a starting role and really kind of fighting for just holding on to his backup job. But we'll be pretty mean to Mason later on in today's mailbag because, well, it's a mailbag and you guys sound off on him quite frequently. So who do you think will start? MT for Mitchell Trubisky, KP for Kenny Pickett, MR for Mason Rudolph. This is our pinned comments on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, it's perfect timing. Head down there and type in MT, KP, or MR. From John D. Lorenzo, great name. He says, what's everyone's thoughts on picking up Diontae Johnson? That'd be a killer 1-2 punch. Isn't he still on his rookie contract? I hate to say it, but he was a bust for the was a beast for the Browns when number 1 and number 2 went down. He also threw in the hashtag here we go. Johnson could be cut by the Browns. I have a tough time seeing an intra-division trade happening. Johnson did play very well when Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both got hurt. He's on a fairly affordable one-year deal, relatively speaking. They also drafted Jerome Ford in the 5th round, have receiver running back hybrid Demetric Felton in the 6th round in 2021. That's too many backs. They've also got a fullback they added to the team. So the numbers game does not work out very well for Cleveland. If he doesn't get traded, and if in the event he's cut, I would love Pittsburgh to add him. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to a running back core that, to be honest, doesn't have enough key pieces in terms of depth beyond stud Najee Harris. Now, are your notifications set to all? If yes, type in Noti in the comments section for a chance at a future shout-out. Less than 16.5% of you guys actually have them set to all. So even though we're doing videos almost every single day, you're not getting a Noti every time we do a video sent right to your phone. So click the bell icon, change your notification status from personalized, which is the default, to all to get a push every time there's a new Steelers vid. From LL, as we get to the running back portion of today's show, again, very popular, understandably so. Trade Rudolph for running back like Fournette, Cordarrelle Patterson, or Melvin Gordon. So, first off, what else are we throwing in? Because that is not remotely the value for Mason Rudolph. This is a backup caliber quarterback. Fournette, Patterson, and Gordon are all starters / rotation pieces in a 1A, 1B type of committee. Now, Fournette allegedly is a little bit fat right now. Was quote-unquote, according to a Bucks reporter, a donut away from 260. My guy is now Kelvin Benjamin, apparently. He also just got signed, so cross him off the list. Patterson was re-signed by Atlanta. Contract is somewhat movable. They drafted Tyler Algier in the 5th round, I believe, out of BYU. Melvin Gordon is somewhat appealing if Denver decides we only need Javonte Williams. But all three of those guys are high-end rotation pieces in a committee or outright starters. I don't know if you need that caliber of running back. We'll spend some more time on the back position, but first, today's show is protected by Aura, and you should let them protect you too. Financial fraud protection, identity theft protection. It's not a joke, Patrick. Start taking it seriously. Online and device security for you and up to 5 members of your family. Simply head over to aura.com/chatsports. That link is in the comments section and in the description. If you're like most Americans, most people, you spend more time online than ever. I mean, all my banking information is right here on my phone. God forbid my phone gets compromised, I am in major trouble. But Aura helps prevent that from happening. So get your free trial, cancel at any time, by the way, over at aura.com/chatsports. From Carlton Klabine? I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, Carlton, so I'm sorry about that. The Steelers make a trade with the Green Bay Packers for running back A.J. Dillon. Now, that's a trade I can live with. I think the only way you're getting Dillon from Green Bay is if you move a premium pick or Diontae Johnson. In the Green Bay offense, as weird as it might sound with Aaron Rodgers, they actually love to run the football. And that is reflected in Dillon's numbers. 187 carries, 803 yards, 5 scores. I am totally down to add a running back depth piece, whether it's a Myles Gaskin who's constantly mentioned as a logical target or a free agent or whatever. I am down to upgrade over Benny Snell. But I think the 4 names mentioned beyond Dearness Johnson in terms of trades are all aiming a little bit too high. I don't need someone to come in and have 180 carries. I need someone to have maybe 80. So the level of cost it would require for Melvin Gordon, Cordarrelle Patterson, A.J. Dillon, or Fournette would simply be too high for the type of role they're going to get. Of the 4 backs on screen, who do you think is most realistic? Type in MG for Melvin Gordon, CP for Cordarrelle Patterson, LF for Leonard Fournette, or AD for A.J. Dillon. Next up, Zachary Wilkins is a trade idea. The Steelers get a 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and 2 7ths for Mason Rudolph. I know that the Steelers once got a 5th-round pick for Josh Dobbs. We have to adjust our expectations for Mason Rudolph. That is a wild overpay. The Raiders are not going to move their entire day 3 draft class next year to get a backup quarterback who is average at best. Like, I think if you were to honestly ask the Steelers or the Raiders, who would you rather have? Jarrett Stidham, Nick Mullins, and Mason Rudolph? They'd probably say Rudolph, but not at the cost of a 4th, 5th, 6th, and 2 7ths. You would be lucky to get a pick, I think, right now for Rudolph. Now, that could very well happen. Injuries are a thing, but his value is not that high at this point. We have to be honest with ourselves from that perspective. Thomas McDonald had 2 different trade ideas, Mason and Diontae Johnson for a 1st-rounder to Seattle or to Green Bay. I do think Green Bay's a lot more sensible there. Seattle does not make any sense for Johnson. Sure for Mason, but they're just going to be bad, I think. Green Bay does not make any sense for Mason Rudolph. You can throw him in. Sure, he carries not much value. Johnson for a 1st might be pushing it, maybe a 2nd, but I don't think they trade Diontae Johnson. He also mentioned Zach Moss as a target from Buffalo, and this one makes a lot of sense to me. This is much more in line with the proper value and role of what you would expect for a backup running back and the need of the Bills to move on. They have Devin Singletary, James Cook. Is Zach Moss going to be relegated to being RB3? Very probable, if not the likely outcome, and I would say if you can get him for a 5th at max, I actually have interest there because I don't need to give Zach Moss 180 carries or touches. I can give him 120-ish and be my backup to Najee Harris and reduce Harris's massive workload and hopefully boost his efficiency. Or minimum, have a better insurance plan in case, God forbid, knock on wood, Najee Harris gets hurt. Matt Inman, do you agree that the Steelers are piecing together for this year and are actually building for 2 to 3 years from now? O-line and corner next year to build upon the pieces they have put in place this year, like building a puzzle. So I do think you're on to something a little bit there in terms of how you put everything together. I think puzzle building is a good way to look at roster building in general. I do think this is a bit of a, if not a full-fledged rebuild, at least a little bit of a mini reset. Like, I think if we're being honest with the talent on Pittsburgh, especially on offense with uncertainty at quarterback, this is probably not their best win-now window they've had in the past decade or so. It's probably near the bottom end. So I do think a longer view is important. I don't know if piecing together this year is quite the phrase I'd use, but I do think this is a team that's taking a longer view than a Rams all-in win-now type of style. So with that in mind, predict the Steelers' record for me in 2022. Mike Tomlin has been unbelievable in terms of not having a losing season as the Steelers head coach, but that record is in danger of being broken this year. I want you to be honest with me. Predict the Steelers' record in 2022. For Roberto Viga, who I'm partially convinced is trolling on this one, if not outright convinced. If Big Ben unretired, could he take this team to the Super Bowl? No, he couldn't. Guys, I think now we can be honest with what Big Ben was at the end of his career. He didn't have the arm anymore. He retired about as late as he possibly could have. He doesn't have the juice anymore. He also asked, how about bringing back D'Angelo Williams as a number 2 back? He is 39 years old. He looked cooked back in 2016. So no to both of those, Roberto, who I still think is trolling. Remember, folks, if you want to be on future Steelers mailbags, simply use hashtag Steelers with the rest of your question in the comment section. It's cool if you just put a comment in for hashtag Steelers, but that does not indicate any question involved there. So if you have questions, ideas, theories, whatever, use hashtag Steelers as part of your comment.